Yo, what is up, YouTube? I know it's been a while, but we got a new game mode, we got a new expansion, so there's a lot to talk about. So basically what this video is going to be is just going to be a basic guide to all the maps in Battleground Blitz. I'm sure you guys have all been spam queuing it, and you've either been enjoying it, or most likely pulling your hair out and having raised blood pressure. So hopefully this video can help at least some of you guys out. And hopefully it can help me out by if some of you guys on my team watch this video so that I don't pull my hair out every BG Blitz game I queue. So I'm going to start off with a little bit of introduction about myself. For those of you guys who don't know who I am, my name's Easy Game. I've started RBGing when I came back to the game after taking a long break in BFA Season 4. I did queue Arena at the time, but I just kind of found myself really enjoying RBGs, Rated Battlegrounds, and I just kind of did that started streaming and started doing that for a few years. Started up a community that just helped new players get into RBGs, and I've also just been kind of the top of the RBGs for a while now. And yeah, I've been spam queuing Blitz. As of recording this video, I am the number 2 marksman hunter. I play a lot of different classes and specs, so it's hard to push CR and on all of them because I just don't have enough time in the day. I don't play that much compared to other people. So I don't have the CR on all the characters, but all my characters are very high MMR. I've been playing at the top end of the bracket for a while now from a lot of different point of views, a lot of different roles. But anyways, currently, I'm number 2 Hunter, number 5 Disc Priest, number 4 Dev Evoker, and I don't know, pretty okay on Mage. I don't know. I haven't played a lot of Mage to climb the CR, but I'm up there in the MMR. But yeah, that's pretty much a little bit about me. So this guide's going to come from the perspective of all these different roles, all these different classes. It's not really just for one class or one spec or one role. It's more of a broad guide on how to play the maps as a whole, from any perspective, any player. So hopefully this can help out pretty much anybody that watches the video. But anyways, let's get right into it. All right, so the first maps that we're going to go over are going to be the node maps. Okay, now the node maps, people make these seem super difficult, but they're really not that difficult. Okay, basic concept. Well, first I should go over what's different in these maps compared to random BGs or rated battlegrounds. For those of you guys who have never even touched Blitz and you're watching this video trying to get your feet wet. Basically, the difference is that bases are not permanent on these maps, and the base cap timers are down from 6 seconds to 4 seconds, which means that almost any class can cap on you in any CC. So you either have to pre-spin or trinket, and then also once the base turns over, it becomes immune. They can no longer cap it, and essentially go somewhere else for a new base. There's timers. It's a little bit complex. I'm not going to get into all of that. This is kind of like an intermediate guide. I mean, beginners are definitely going to find some stuff to help them as well, but it's more so of people who have already kind of queued Blitz to help them get a little bit better at the maps. So if you need like a super beginner guide, I'm sure there's videos out there for you. This one is a little bit, it is beginner, but you kind of have to at least know somewhat about what's going on. I'm not going to go over the very, very bare bones basics. But anyways, the essential concept of the node maps is just to make sure that your opponent doesn't get any nodes for free. Okay, and what I mean by that is, you know, the game starts, your team caps farm or stables, depending on which faction you are, and the enemy team caps theirs. Those should be the only free base they get the entire game. Every other node, if your team plays correctly, should be contested by at least one player. So what that means is, you know, what my favorite strat, which I think personally is the best strat for the opener, is to send 3 DPS mines, okay? 3 of your strongest skirmish DPS. Ferals are really good, mages are really good, dev evokers are actually really good at this. For some reason, whenever I go mines on my dev, I just mop the floor with them and get the base in 2 seconds. DKs are okay. Yeah, pretty much any skirmish class, you send mines 3. And if the best part is if they send 2 mines, you instantly get mines and you're a base up, because you're only going to have 2 at blacksmith and 2 at LM, but it's going to be healer DPS. And one of the concepts of node maps that people don't understand is I call it being chained to a node. What this means is healer DPS usually versus another healer or DPS at a node, right? It's a 2v2. Okay, both teams have 2 players there, healer DPS. It's very hard for healer DPS to get the node onto with CC capping, and it's borderline impossible for one TPS to kill one healer. So essentially this is a stalemate, which is fine. It just means your team's even on the rest of the map. But the problem with being chained to a node lies within an inexperienced member of your team showing up to that node, either side. If the enemy team shows up, that's good for you as the 2, because spinning 3 people isn't much harder than spending 2, especially when there's still only 2 DPS. Your healers still shouldn't die to 2 DPS. Healers are very strong. They're very tanky. It takes 3 to 4 DPS to kill a healer, and even then it might take a while. Healers are just really strong right now. So them sending an extra DPS is really good for you. It gives you an extra number, and you're still going to do the same thing you've been doing, just spinning them. Living and spinning. That's all you have to do. Your team's a number of the map. The problem lies when someone from your team shows up to this chain node. So if you're the healer at the chain node and another DPS shows up, there's really not much you can do, because if you lead the node, those 2 DPS will lose eventually to healer DPS, and you'll lose. You just give up the node. Sometimes that might be worth it if you feel like you need to go somewhere else because your team's losing, but it does suck. It does suck. A lot of times you just can't leave the node as the healer. But if you're the DPS at the node and one of your 1400 experienced DPS shows up, no idea what they're doing, what you can do as the DPS is just leave. Just book it. Just be like, okay, this guy showed up. He's an idiot. I'm out. Right? Just you dip out, go do something else somewhere else. Let him. Now he is now chained to that node. Obviously, if he is really bad and leaves, then your healer's stuck there by himself. You're going to lose a node, but there's really nothing you can do about that. Just, it's better to just leave the node and hope that he just stays there and does nothing. But yeah, eventually that's just like swapping the chain. But either way, there should be 2 chained to that node forever, until the node gets changed. If you're a DPS anywhere else on the map, you want to be opening your map and seeing like, where are my chained players? Where are their chained players? So if LM is a stalemate with both teams chained there, don't go there. Avoid that node at all, unless it's the only node you can go to. Like for some reason, all the other nodes are captured. And even then, it might be better to just position yourself for, their node, like stables or farm, or whatever node's coming up next. It's almost always a bad idea to go to that node, because you're not going to get it unless you're really confident that you can go up there. Like you're a rogue, for example, maybe you're just going to go up there and try to cloak cap it or bomb cap it or something real quick, or a mage, you're going to try to ice wall cap it real quick. That's fine, but you don't want to spend too much time at a node where people are chained, because you're just wasting your time and your team is down a number when that happens. Now, shoe on the other foot, if you're chained to a node and 4 people from the enemy team show up, you should be happy. See, a lot of times I see people like, oh, help LM, there's 4, help LM, there's 4. You shouldn't be saying that. You should be happy that there's half of their team is at the node that you're at. You don't want more of your team there. What you want to do is just sit there and spin and live, and spin those 4 people for as long as humanly possible, which if you're a healer and you're really good, you can spin that forever. You can spin that forever. You will never die. Like I said, healers are crazy powerful. They're very tanky. You can spin that for a solid 2 minutes. And if you're spinning half of their team, there's 5 nodes on the map. So if, both maps, there's 5 nodes on the map. So if you're spinning 4 of their 8 players at a node for a minute or longer, even 30 seconds, you did a great job. Like, yeah, eventually they're going to get it. They're outnumbering you 2 to 1, but like just sitting there and stalling them, that means your team is up 2 members on the rest of the map. Like you should be getting 3 or 4 nodes from that play. So you did your job, right? Don't ask for reinforcements. It's bad. That's bad. You don't want more people there. You wanna be efficient with your numbers more so than matching your numbers. It's very important on node maps. But yeah, the same principle for both. I gave you guys. So the starting strat I think is the best on AB. 3 DPS mines, 3 of your strongest front-loaded burst classes. Just lust, instantly kill, get mines. Send 3 DPS mines, healer DPS, blacksmith, healer DPS LM, 1-person cap farm, and you can pretty much ghost farm pretty early. It's very unlikely that they're going to come and click the node in time. I would probably sit there for maybe 4 to 5 seconds just to make sure that no one's sprinting there. Click on your BGE, check stealthies, because they technically can get there and click it in time if you don't spin a single time. But if they do get there and try to click it, you just have to spin 1 time. Like anyone could do that, right? I say that, but I've definitely had games where people don't spend 1 time. But yeah, essentially you can ghost that early, go to mines, go help LM, go to BS, whatever. But you want to make sure that you're back, someone is back to cap farm when it's up. Again, the goal of node maps is to make sure that the enemy doesn't get any node for free and that you get as many nodes as you can for free. Okay? So when the nodes are up, someone should be there from your team. That's the basic concept. As far as Deepwind Gorge, same concepts apply here. The only difference I would say is at the start of the game, I see this a lot of time at low ratings. People have no idea what they're doing or talking about. And they'll send like 3 people to farm, 3 people to shrine, and then like 2 mid. This is a terrible, terrible strategy. Horrendous strategy, okay? I can't emphasize this enough. Every time I see this when I'm doing placements, I get irate. Because these people are so convinced this is a good strategy, and it's not good. It's not good. All this, one person at this node, all he has to do is spin you guys twice, sometimes even once, depending on how slow you are to get to their node. And then you're just 3-manning a node that's turned over, and you're just, let's say you send 2 here and 3 here. That's 5 members of your team that if you don't get the node, which you shouldn't get the node, unless like they're sitting something weird or their player that's sitting is like legitimately just 1600 or something. But like, at high ratings, this doesn't work, okay? Like, the only class I could say maybe just rush their node and see what you can do is a rogue, because you might be able to just cloak cap on a mage or bomb cap on, you know, like you can cheat. Rogues are broken, you can cheese a cap early on, but other than that, it's just a waste of time to run at their node at the start. So what I recommend is, you know, cap your nodes, watch them, have your base sitters watch them, right? Then the rest of your team play for mid, get the reset. There's also buffs on the map, by the way. There's invis buffs right here and right here, and then on AB they are right here. There's also a cooldown reset buff. It's not crazy powerful, but it just kind of lowers the cooldown of your cooldowns faster. And then there's Leaf, but yeah, pretty much that's it. The invis buff, one important thing to note, this goes for all the maps because the invis buff is on quite a few of the maps. It's not a true invis. It's more like a camouflage. So when you're in range within it's like a 15 or 20 yard range, I don't know exactly how far, but they can see you. It's not like a true stealth where you could just walk up next to them and they don't see you. They can see your character from pretty far range. It's not a true stealth. So that's an important thing to keep in mind when you grab this buff and you're trying to make a play. You still kind of want to avoid players a little bit. Like I said, it's like a camouflage. It's not a true stealth. Okay, so don't just like go stand on a node thinking like, oh yeah, they don't see me. Like, there might be a rogue that just sees you and is ready to sap you because, like I said, they could just see you. It's not a true stealth. That's an important distinction. Because I didn't know that at first, and I was getting confused. Like, how do they know I'm here? Like, are they stream sniping? Like, what's going on? But no, they can just see you. It's not a true stealth. But yeah, basic concept. Don't give nodes for free. Don't overload nodes where people are chained. It's really not that hard. I don't know why people make it seem that hard, but yeah, that's the node maps, guys. All right, the next map we're going to talk about is Eye of the Storm. Unfortunately, as of recording this video this Tuesday, I've been complaining on my stream a lot that Blizzard hasn't made a single change to the game with BG Blitz in mind, or specifically for BG Blitz, which in my mind is kind of weird considering the main PvP attraction of this expansion was Battleground Blitz. So you would think that they would cater to this game mode at least a little bit, but they haven't really done anything, and I've been complaining about it. Well, turns out Blizzard decided to grant my wish. Unfortunately, it was a monkey paw wish, so hey, they did make a change to Eye of the Storm this week, but unfortunately, in a classic Blizzard fashion, it's a terrible change and makes this map 5,000 times worse and completely horrendous. But what do we expect? It's Blizzard, hashtag fire all WoW devs, hashtag fire Blizzard. Terrible company. Really tired of them. Anyways, I digress. Essentially on this map, with this new change, you could just have 2 or 3 people or even half your team just mount up and go to their node and spin it. Because now you can just get to the node before they can cap it. So ideally, what you want to do is just maybe have one person go mid to troll. Even still, you probably don't even need a person to go mid anymore. Just I haven't played enough on this map since this awful change to kind of know for sure what's best. But I know that you can spin their node. I did it on my mage. I just walked over there. I just mounted over there. I'm pretty sure any class can do it. You just go over there and spin it, right? Obviously, if they're aware, they're going to try and stop you. But so yeah, you want to send some people here to make sure they don't spin you, and you want to send some people to go spin their node. So pretty bad design. I don't know why Blizzard did this. They're really bad at their jobs. They should have just kept it the way it was. But yeah, I don't know why they did it. But that's the new strat, I guess. If you get your node and you successfully spin their node, your whole team should give up on mid. Just let it go. There's no point in being there. They don't have a base to cap it, and just play to spin their node or get it, and then keep your node and you win the game. It's that simple. yeah, there's really not much to talk about. This map kind of just got ruined by Blizzard, so I'll just, you know, I guess I could just go over, let's just say that both teams get their base the way it's supposed to be played, because, you know, that can happen. Their rogue like saps people on the road or bomb caps it, you know, like you can't always spin it, right? So let's say it's 1-1 and then it becomes a flag battle, because the only time where the flag is important is if both teams have a base. Then the flag is the win condition, right? So let's just say that happens. Now you're playing for the flag, right? What you can do is if you win the flag war, you get the flag, you can just bring it to your base. And if your team is, if you're at a certain rating, at low ratings, this is very difficult and almost impossible to achieve. But what you do is you just hold the flag there the rest of the game. You just let the stacks build up. And then once they fully commit, because they're going to be like sitting at the other nodes expecting you to cap, especially at low rating, right? And you could just sit there and hold the flag forever. Like they're never going to, if they don't fully commit to kill your flag and either move it or get that node, then you could just sit here and just wait. Okay, but then once they do fully commit, all you have to do is just drop the flag and let them pick it. Let's just say it's 15 stacks, right? 15 stacks of the flag. Just drop it and kill them. Just make sure the flag never resets to mid and just keep dropping it, letting them pick and killing them. If it's really high stacks, they can't get away. They can't really do much with the flag. And eventually you just cap it at 1350, or yeah, I think the flag is 150 points. So you just cap it 1350, win the game. Yeah, really not that complicated. It kind of sucks that they made this terrible change for the map, because I probably would have more to say, but yeah, the terrible change just kind of makes this map really bad. And I don't, yeah, Blizzard devs, I don't know. They hashtag fire all WoW devs, I don't know. It's bad. But yeah, it's Eye of the Storm. Next up, we are going to talk about the flag maps. Now, the flag maps, there is quite a problem with the flag maps on BG Blitz that is very frustrating. I'm sure you guys have all experienced this, is that Prez Evokers and Mistweavers are just too overpowered. Their mobility is just too stupid, and I'm kind of surprised it hasn't been nerfed, but like I said, I don't really even want to ask for it anymore, because Blizzard will probably just give me another monkey paw wish like they did with Eye of the Storm, so I think this is just the way it's got to be. But yeah, if you have a Mistweaver on your team or a Prez Evoker, you're golden. You're set. They can grab the flag. They can fly across the map in 2 seconds with 20 people chasing them, and they're good to go. The classes are broken. But there's going to be a lot of games where you don't have those on your team. You have Disc Priest Holy Paladin, or Holy Priest Holy Paladin, or R Shaman R Druid. There's going to be a lot of combinations you're going to get that aren't one of those two classes, unfortunately. And you might want to just give up and say, well, GG, they have the Monk, they have the Prez Evoker, let's go next. Although you might be right, and more likely than not, you are going to be right. You can win. You can win. So I feel like flag maps have been around for so long that I don't really need to go over the basic strategy. So pretty much what I'm going to go over is how to win the unwinnable games. Because I have won probably more unwinnable lobbies on flag maps than most people have playing Blitz. And the way I do this, I've done it on my Priest. I've probably won more flag maps FCing on my Priest than... I've definitely won more than I've lost. I have a pretty good win rate holding the flag on my Priest, which is insane because it's so terrible at it. But you have to play differently, okay? You can't play like the Prez Evokers and the Mistweavers with no DPS defense, just flying across the map, being overpowered. You can't do that. You're playing a Priest, you're playing a Paladin. You have to play differently to win. So what you need to do is you say, hey, at the start of the lobby, okay, hey, we have the comp disadvantage, guys. Here's what we have to do. You need 2 strong DPS defense. Warriors are good. A second Rogue is good. Warlocks are good. Mages can be good. Death Knights can be good, but Death Knights are also really good on offense, so be careful with that. But you need strong DPS on defense. Rep Paladins are really good on defense, especially when you don't have mobile classes, because Freedom is very good mobility for Priests. We want these classes on defense, and you need 2 people on defense, and your healers need to be together at all times. So basically, your flag carrying group is 2 strong DPS and your 2 healers, a pack of 4, and they have to move together the entire game. The entire game they have to move together. They have to be a literal unit, because the Priest can't get there and leave by themselves because they can't move, right? Shaman, same thing. Any of the healers that aren't Prez or Mistweaver can't grab the flag and get out scot-free. They just don't have the mobility for that. Maybe an R Druid, maybe, but I feel like an R Druid will just die in stuns because they kind of just they're one of the least tanky healers. Unfortunately, they're still pretty tanky. They're tankier than any DPS, but they're probably the least tankiest of the healers, I'd say. Maybe Holy Paladin, but either way, concept just a unit. Okay, It's also really important, and this goes for both maps too, by the way. Talking about both maps, they kind of play similarly. It's really important that the other 4 DPS on your team don't play defense, because the second that a third DPS comes defense, now you have 5 members of your team in that unit, which means that they can send a healer on their offense, which makes it infinitely more difficult to get across the map, because your 2 DPS on defense can't kill through a healer very quickly. They might still kill if they're good, but it's going to take a while. Like they're not just going to instantly kill everyone on your FC as they cross. So it's very important that your 4 DPS are just pummeling the enemy FC, just pummeling them to the point where they have to 2-heal that guy or he doesn't cross the map. That's very important. Don't overload defense with this strategy. But yeah, that's the way I've found. I mean, once you get to the flag room, you're good. It's just the hardest part is crossing the map on priests and paladin and shaman and Ardruids. But once you get across, which is achievable with this death ball unit strategy that I'm talking about, once you get across, you should be good, and then it becomes kind of an even game. I still think Mistweavers and Prezes are a little bit better. They have a little bit more agency as far as not dying with the flag, but the only thing Disc Priests really have over the other healers is that they're really tanky, and their defensives are pretty good if used correctly. They're pretty good. So once you get to your flag room, you have a winning position. It's just getting across that's hard, which is why you need that death ball unit to just be spam killing their offense that's slowing your priest so that you can actually get across. But yeah, same that goes for both maps. That's pretty much the only way I've found to win the unwinnable lobbies. And you know, at the end of the day, Blitz is a numbers game. So if you're winning these unwinnable games that other people are losing, you're gonna surpass them eventually. Like, winning the unwinnable games is important. And believe it or not, anyone who watches my stream, they are a lot of unwinnable games. It happens to everybody. I feel like it happens to me more than most, but, confirmation bias, all that stuff. It sucks. But when you do win these unwinnable games, it feels good, and it's definitely good for your CR and your MMR. So, yeah. Alright, so the next map I'm going to talk about is Battle for Gilneas. I'm not going to talk about this one too much because it's very similar to actual Gilneas in RBGs and even random battlegrounds. This is a node map where the nodes aren't actually rotating like the other ones. The only difference is that it's a 4-second cap timer. So the most important thing here is obviously just spin the node, because it's a lot easier for someone to just click it. It's only 4 seconds. There are invis buffs on this map, I believe right here and right here. There's also a cooldown, and I think there's an invis buff right here too. There's also a cooldown buff right here. I think the invis buff is right here. So there's 3 invis buffs. Remember, this invis buff isn't a true invis. It's more like a camouflage. One of the opening strategies I like doing on this map is if they have a base sitter that's not ideal, whether it's, I think they're low experience, like I could just, I had them on my team before, or I check PvP them and I just know they're not very good. They don't really know what they're doing. I'll send a 2-man squad over there, like, rogue mage, rogue DH, whatever, grab the stealth buff, kind of maneuver my way over there out of sight, and then we either just CC cap it or we just win a 2v2, because sometimes, one of their team members, let's say he's aware, he knows it's about to get hit, you just have to win the 2v2 and get the node. But yeah, usually if there's a weaker player or a weaker class, that becomes a pretty viable win option. If not, then, just play it like normal, play for the team fight, make sure your base doesn't get hit and lost, and then yeah, it just kind of plays out the same as normal Gilneas. That's why there's really not much to talk about that's new. The most important thing is just to note that it's 15-second res timers and the 4-second cap. Just spin the node. Most of my Gilneases are lost because people don't spin. It's just really important to watch the node. Don't count on your teammates to spin, because they probably won't. So once you get 2 nodes, one thing is if you're duoing, this is a great map to duo on, because if you ever are in a winning position, make sure you and your duo are not at the same node if possible. All right, so let's say, I'm doing with the dragon or a Mistweaver, like, hey, I'll make sure that Lighthouse is good, you make sure Waterworks is good, and then just try to never be at the same node if possible. Obviously, it might not be possible. Maybe they'll 7-man a node and you guys both have to be there, but ideally, you just want to make sure that both of you are making sure that you spin both nodes, because you win if you don't lose the nodes, right? So it's a good opportunity to split up and hold it down. But yeah, it's pretty much Gilneas. Nothing crazy new about it. Pretty much the same concept that it's always been. So not much to talk about. All right, Temple of Kotmogu is another map where there's not too much different. Oh, there is a difference, but I think it's negative. Honestly, this is one of my, I think this and Silvershard are my least favorite maps right now in Blitz. I feel like they're the most random and the least carryable of the maps. Yeah, I feel like as an individual, you have the least agency of winning those two maps. But yeah, simple concept. The main difference between this and actual RBGs or random battlegrounds is that everyone needs to grab the orbs. Everyone. If you are walking past an orb and it's up, you grab it. Period. I don't care what class you're playing. It's just, you just have to grab orbs. It's a 15-second res timer. Even if you grab the orb and die in 20 seconds, you just got some points and you res in 15 seconds. It's not, dying isn't a big punishment, okay? Another important thing is that healers are the best orb carriers. Every healer. I don't care what spec, I don't care what class. Every healer is the best orb carrier. I've had games on my Disc Priest where I have 500 victory points at 2900 MMR and solo carried the game. Like, Disc Priests, Prez Evokers are the best by far. If you're playing a Prez Evoker, you should be looking to grab an orb pretty much on cooldown. Like, just grab orb and run around with it and be immortal and kite, and it's crazy on Prez. Your Prez Evoker should have top victory points every game or they're not doing it right. Mistweavers are also pretty good. I'd say they're a tier below Prez Evoker for carrying the orb because their rolls kind of get trolled up by the orb a little bit, but they can still port. They're still really tanky. They still have a lot of agency with the orb. Important thing for DPS with orbs, especially if you're ranged, is don't just run. Don't just run with the orb and do nothing, okay? I see this a lot, especially at low ratings. Like, I'll have somebody that's doing Disc Priest damage, and they're like, oh, well, I was carrying the orb on a mage or a hunter, and I'm just like, well, dude, that's not an excuse to be doing Disc Priest damage. Like, the orb is actually a damage buff. You should be doing more damage. Granted, you're going to be dead, but again, the rest timer is only 15 seconds, so it's not really an excuse. You should be doing more damage with orbs. There's plenty of games on my Dev Evoker, on my Mage, on my Hunter, where I have the most victory points, and I'm second or first in damage on my team. Like, when you have opportunities to do damage with the orb, you need to take it. Especially as a range class, it's a little bit harder on melee, because you kind of have to go in, and you're putting yourself at risk. But as a range class, like Mage or Hunter, you need to be taking advantage of these chances that you have to damage people either chasing you or just, let's say you're on the outside and you're kiting around, there's going to be times where you can like pop out and do some damage to the people in mid, especially the enemy orbs. If you ever have a chance where the enemy orb is like a melee class and he's in your line of sight and he's in your range and you have an orb, do damage to their orb, because you're getting a damage boost and they're taking increased damage. So like, you can just legitimately one-shot their orb instantly while having an orb. It's just something I see people that they don't do, and I'm like baffled, like, why? Like, what are you doing? It's like they can't do two things at once. They can't kite and move and press damage buttons at the same time, but like, you have to. Just, it's important. So that's pretty much the best advice I can give for Temple. Just your whole team needs to be grabbing orbs. Again, one of my least favorite maps in Blitz. I feel like individual agency on this map is very low, and it kind of just, a lot of times just comes down to who has the winner team and who has the loser team. People might disagree with me. Obviously, it depends on your class. Every map has classes that are a little bit better than others, but on the classes I've been playing, it kind of feels like Temple, it just comes down to better team, loser team. But yeah, that's all I really got for it. All right, now we're on to my by far least favorite map. I said Temple was my second least favorite. This is by far the worst map in Blitz, in my opinion. It's another map where individual agency is, especially at low ratings, is just, it's irrelevant. At low ratings, you're going to get really frustrated on this map. It's just going to come down to winner team, loser team, and no matter how well you play or bad you play, it almost doesn't matter sometimes. I feel like this map has that more than any other map, because people just, especially at lower ratings, they just don't know what's going on. So, but I'm going to tell you how it's meant to be played, okay? And hopefully, the lower experienced players will start playing correctly, but I doubt it. Anyways, you want to send 2 or 3 off carts. Kind of depends on your comp. If you have a bad 2 and they have a good 2, sometimes it's better to send 3 so that they send a third that's not ideal, and it kind of, balances out the comps a little bit, right? But a lot of times people will just send 2, and you want to just match with 2. You don't want to send 3 necessarily, unless you just know your 2 isn't going to win. Then, like I said, sometimes it's good to send 3. Problem with sending 3 is that a healer might float out, and then if your team lava isn't strong enough to kill their solo healing fight, you just default lose the entire game, because a healer on off carts means you're not getting off carts, and if your lava team sucks, you're not getting lava either. So then you just lose all 3 cards and lose the game. That's the problem with sending 3. So generally, I think sending 2 is probably best, but again, it depends on your comp. Lava, you just want to make sure if your team fight is really strong, that you just make sure they don't turn lava up, because sometimes what people will do if they know their team fight sucks, if they have bad classes for it, they'll just turn lava up and turn the whole game into a clown fiesta. If you know your team fight is better and you know you're going to spam wipe them, just watch the turn. Don't count on your teammates to do it, because they won't. Watch the turn, don't let them turn it, win lavas as much as you can, and hope that your off cards aren't complete trash and lose every time. Because if you get every single lava card, there's a pretty good chance that you're going to win the game. It's not guaranteed, but it does give you a huge advantage getting every single lava card as long as it's going down. But yeah, again, there's really not much to talk about on this map. It pretty much operates the same as normal RBGs, and I generally just don't like this map in Blitz. I think it's the least it's my least favorite map, and I feel like it has the least individual agency of any of the maps in Blitz. I also think 15-second res timers for this map and for Temple just kind of make the map not that great, because if you fully wipe them at lava, let's just say the card's like here, in an actual RBG, let's say you wipe them all right here, okay? So then the lava caps, they have 25-second res timers, so you can mount up, go get mid tag, maybe even get top tag too. So you just had a huge swing from wiping them lava, which is awesome. But with a 15-second res timer, let's say you wipe them at lava, by the time you finish wiping them, half their team has already resed. And then they just go get mid and they go get top. So it's like wiping them isn't even necessarily going to win you the game. I don't like it. Again, it's really all I got. This is my least favorite map. I think it's the least skill intensive map, and kind of the most just who has the better team. But yeah. All right, now for the final map, Deephaul Ravine. Okay, so this is the new map. This is probably the map most people are interested in, which is why I saved it for last, the best for last. And when this map first came out, I really didn't like it. Thought it was kind of bad, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of shit on Blizzard for it. But now that I've been playing on it for 3 weeks, and I think a lot of people kind of came to the same conclusion, honestly, I think it's actually a decent map. There's a few things that need to be fixed, like the res timers are kind of buggy, and for some reason it's a 30-second base. It's like a normal random battleground res timer instead of 15 seconds, which I think should be fixed. But yeah, other than that, it's honestly a pretty good map. So the way it works is these carts spawn on this side and on this side. I'm gonna go bare bones for this one because it's brand new, and a lot of people watching the video probably have no idea what this map is even about. So I'm gonna go bare bones on this one, super beginner guide as well as advanced tips and tricks. So a cart spawns here, both sides. It starts off as your tag, but not fully tagged. So you want to get it fully tagged. Same thing with their cart, right? So the opening strategy is generally you send 1 or 2 people over to their cart. At lower ratings, people don't even do this. So you can just go to they won't even pay attention. You just go to their cart, get the tag for free. Most of the points on this map come from holding tags. The carts do cap here, and that does give you some points. But most of the points, and then there's also a crystal in the middle of the map, which kind of operates like a neutral flag. It gives 100 points, I believe, or 75. It's 100 or 75 points. Nothing too crazy. But it gives your whole team a mini bloodlust. It's like a pseudo bloodlust, which is really powerful, actually. And the thing is, you can cap this at both of these bases, right? This is their base, technically, and this is your base, technically. But you can cap this at either one, which is interesting, and I'm not even sure if that's intentional, but yeah, and it gives your team points and everything. It doesn't give their team points if you cap it here or anything like that, and it still gives your team the buff. But it's important to note that you can do that, because sometimes you might, if you fully wipe their team, or if you don't fully wipe their team, you might want to just like cap it at theirs and then go for the new cart tag. But anyways, tags are super important. You want to make sure you defend your cart tag at the beginning of the game and try to get their cart tag at the beginning of the game. So a lot of times at low ratings especially, you could just cart over to their cart and just get the tag, and they won't defend it. They have no idea what's going on. They're completely clueless, and then you just essentially won the team your game. But you also need to make sure while you're doing this that you're watching your cart tag and telling your team, hey, they're going for our cart tag, someone turn around. And all that has to happen is someone that's sitting here padding in mid just needs to turn around and go sit in the cart. That's it. Just sit in it. Don't let them get the tag. But if you hold these 2 tags, you pretty much win the game. The team who holds the tags the longest almost always wins. The orb and the crystal, or the crystal in the middle, does matter, but holding cart tags is super important. And like I said, the carts do end up capping. But if you hold the tags the whole way, and then let's say they get the cap on this one at the end, it's not that big of a deal because, like I said, most of the points are just from the tags. So you got the job done by just holding the tags. If they steal it at the end, yeah, it kind of sucks, but it's not the end of the world. You still got a shitload of points from the tags. All right, but that's pretty much the gist of it. As far as buffs go on this map, I don't believe there's a stealth buff. There is a cooldown buff right here and right here. There's a Zerker buff in these caves, which I grab if I'm not playing for carts usually. And then there's a leaf buff kind of like around here, I believe, on both sides. There's a leaf buff on both sides near the starting rooms. But yeah, it's pretty much the map. It's not too complicated of a map, but at the same time, it kind of is. Like I said, I like the map a lot now. I didn't like it at first, but now that I've kind of learned the intricacies and how the map works, I actually enjoy it a lot. I think it's one of my favorite maps now. It's definitely better than Silvershard, and it's definitely better than Temple. That's for sure. But yeah. All right, guys. That pretty much wraps up the video. This is a long video. There's a lot to talk about, and I'm sure I forgot or left out or maybe even made some mistakes in the video along the way. If I did, if there's anything I left out or there's any mistakes you guys noticed, just feel free to leave it in the comments. I'll acknowledge you. I'll correct it in the description, and I definitely appreciate it. Other than that, if you guys want to see some gameplay or have any more questions you want to ask, just go ahead and stop by my stream. It's going to be in the description of the video. I'll have my Twitter and my Discord community link in there as well, so make sure you guys join the community for more information and just, you know, to see when I'm live and updates on me and stuff like that. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. It actually helps me out a ton, especially subscribing. And yeah, I'll see you guys for the next one. My next video is probably going to be, just for you guys, a little spoiler, is probably just going to be an updated tier list for this new patch on what classes and specs I think are the most impactful and powerful as far as agency for winning Blitz games. And just the overall strength of the classes and stuff like that. So that'll be my next video, probably within the next week. But yeah, appreciate you guys, and thanks for watching.